I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Welcome to Kitty's Corner. Every weekend is a new journey. Join Auntie Oni as she embarks on thrilling adventures. Each episode takes the young explorers to a different fantastical world filled with exciting challenges, making new friends and learning valuable life lessons. The show begins with lots of excitement in a cozy storytelling mood. Fairies teach the importance of kindness, honesty, bravery, teamwork, or curiosity. Kitty's Corner is a delightful blend of fun, education, and imagination with catchy songs, interactive games.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Today is December 30th, 2025. We are counting down. We are almost there, talking about almost getting to 2026. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I am Chukwuma Okoro. By the way, we still wish you compliments of the season. We are still in celebration mood, Christmas, and we are heading into the new year and all of that. But today, we have on our table very interesting trending stories that we'll discuss with, and we'll have few analysts that will help us make sense of that. We'll start with number one. Nigerian court declares local governments autonomous and state control of universal basic education fund. Now, that's very interesting. National grid collapses, throws Nigeria into darkness as billionaire businessman Otedola withdraws investment from power sector. Talking about the Gregu power plant. And again, Kano NNPP begs members to reconsider move as Kwakwanso Kano governor disagree over defection to APC. Now, this is very interesting because the papers yesterday had it that it was governor and Kwakwanso that were planning to move to APC. But today we got a different news that, look, no, Kwakwanso wants to stay and the governor wants to move. We'll discuss all of these in the course of the program, but these are just the major stories. We also have other interesting stories that we'll talk about. Good morning, Moses.
Good morning to you, Chukwuma.
You look better today, stronger.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right.
Oh, well, a beautiful day it is. And yes, we're counting down to last few hours of 2025. And in about, a few more hours, less than 48 hours, we will be welcoming 2026. And 2026, of course, has a lot more prospects for Nigerians, a lot more expectations, with January 1st being the commencement date for the tax, the implementation of the Tax Act. Oh, well, Nigerians are quite expectant, waiting to see what would happen.
Whether it will be or it will not be.
Or not to be.
Honest.
To be or not to be. Oh, well, now, something happened yesterday. Renowned boxer Anthony Joshua was involved in a road accident yesterday in Makurdi State. An eyewitness reports that the incident occurred along a busy highway of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway around 11 a.m. in the morning. Unfortunately, 2 people died in the accident when the Lexus Jeep carrying Anthony Joshua and his friends reportedly collided with a stationary truck. Now, in a statement issued on yesterday by the special advisor to Ogun State Governor on Information and Strategy, Kayode Akimade, the state government expressed condolences, and the driver of the vehicle were rescued by security personnel. Attached to his convoy and taken to a hospital where they are currently receiving medical attention. Well, the Federal Road Safety Corps confirmed excessive speeding and wrongful overtaking may have led to the crash along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Well, the Corps Public Education Officer, Assistant Corps Marshal Olusegun Ogunbemide, stated this in a statement, made available to journalists. And according to the statement, preliminary findings by the FRSC Ogun Sector Command revealed that 5 adults, males, were involved in the crash, adding that 2 of the occupants died on the spot. I don't know if there are 5 or 4. Yes. I saw another report that said there were 4.
4, yes.
Yes, another report said 4. So now, from what we know about the accident, the driver with Anthony Joshua behind him, a friend right beside the driver, and another person behind that one. And the vehicle ran into a stationary truck, and it was that side of the vehicle that was affected. So those on that line, the passenger beside the driver and the one behind him, were the ones that were affected. And unfortunately, well, these are human lives, of course. And more unfortunately is the fact that these are foreign nationals who came to have fun with their friend. I mean, it's not the first time we are coming to Nigeria. And it's interesting. Joshua just always likes to come back home.
Yes.
He's one person who...
He's a homeboy.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He always wants to come spend, and he doesn't go anywhere else but Ogun State, where his family house is. He just wants to have fun. But this one, very unfortunate, and this left him with injuries. And, well, a lot of people are sending their condolences. We here at VOP are also sending our own condolences to Joshua and his friends, Latif and Sina Bami. I think that's the name of one of the other guys involved in that. And these are, pillars of Joshua, the friends that have supported him. Latif is his childhood friend. Now, let's look at some of the things around this. Overspeeding. Now, that's the culprit here. That's the alleged cause of the accident. Nobody knows if they were driving under the influence, but I would, in hazarding a guess, I would say probably not. Looking at the time of the day, 11 a.m. And that's not to say that some people don't, get intoxicated at that time of the day, but that wasn't part of the things that were tested. There were no breathalyzers to test any of those. But the driver is alive, Joshua is alive, good for them. But unfortunately, those that have died. Now, stationary truck, it's a major concern. Nigerians have spoken about this over and over again. The fact that vehicles break down and they're just, pushed to one side of the road and left there till somebody feels, okay, it's time to take these ones off the road. We should, driving out this morning, I still saw some trucks parked along the road. Some of them just there, maybe not even broken down, but somebody just felt, okay, there's no place in the garage, so let me park this one here until there is space for me to move in. And these trucks are parked on the road. And these things can cause accidents. If one who is not very familiar with that road gets on a particular road, you might, and you're on, you're not exactly in, you're speeding, your reaction rate will be slower, and that can cause a crash. All right. So the fact that trucks are left on the side of the road, this borders on local governments and governments in general. They should fix that. Now, that's one angle to this. The fact that some people get overly excited when they're behind the wheels, and then they start to run like they're running to heaven. It's troubling. And I said this here some time back, when the Third Mainland Bridge was recently fixed and the road was so smooth, you needed to see how people were driving on that bridge. At that time, before the cameras were fixed, people were driving like they had a death wish. You know, I drive on that road quite a lot, and I'm like, what is your problem? Because you know that potholes have been fixed. There might still be a mechanical error
somewhere.
There might be something left on the road. There might be a mechanical error. Your brakes can fail. Anything can happen. So we need to be sensible as a people. And you see, they say joy, excitement kills more than sadness. And it's true. When you're excited, you can get on the road. And I think that was what happened to, what's her name now? One of these Nigerian artists.
Okay.
Is it Goldie?
What about what?
No, it's not Goldie. It's not Goldie. Goldie had. Yes, the Green. There's this was similar to the Green.
Yes,
but there's another
killed
there's
Green?
another musician who was upcoming at the time. I think she's Ghanaian. She got an award or something, and she got into the vehicle driving at top speed, and there was an accident, and she didn't have her seatbelt on. Somebody else was driving, and she flew off hit the windshield and died.
Oh,
now that's another. I've forgotten her name now. She's a musician. She was a musician. So when people get overly excited, they tend to do things wrong, and we will never forget that Green. Very similar. Stationary truck.
And the Green's
driving
own was
early hours
very
of the day.
spectacular. And when his friends wanted to join him in the vehicle, you know what he asked them? You won't go die. More like he was prophetic about his death. And there was no need for him to start driving back to Lagos at that point, that night, because they were already high, tipsy, and...
Now, sorry,
Go ahead.
before you go on, the last point I want to make is response time. Now, this is a shame. Okay, yes, that's it. That's it on the screen. It's a shame. There's an accident, and in as much as I don't expect ambulance to get there in the next 1 second or 2 minutes, but there should be close by. This is a highway. It's a highway. Ambulances should be close by. Like every 500 meters or something, you should have one ambulance or the other stationed there in case of emergencies. Now, things like this happen. You don't get to see ambulances, and then you see people, a lot of people. Some of them, yes, trying to help, but sometimes when you crowd these victims, you even lead to their immediate death because you're not providing help. You're just there, and then somebody gets involved in an accident.
Pictures and
somebody gets involved in an accident, and there's no stretcher. He's lifted. I mean, he had to be lifted out of the vehicle. No stretcher to look at him in pains, of course. Probably, a fractured limb or something.
And look at people taking
and
video.
It was his security detail, his DSS detail, that were driving behind him. They were the ones that came to his immediate rescue. Right there, being lifted by the hand out of the vehicle. And then ambulance from Lagos got there before ambulance in Ogun State. That's another thing.
And the arrival of the ambulance from Lagos, probably because Anthony Joshua, prominent, figure, VIP, was involved. You get the point. Now, that said, what has been racing through my mind is the two foreigners that died with him. People that came for the hillside with their friends to have fun and talk about Nigeria when they go back. And I'm just imagining, I have a son, and he jumps into, he goes to holiday with his friend in somewhere in part of Africa or Europe, and I get a call that, look, he died in an accident. What would be my state of mind at that point? That's what I've just been thinking, these two young men that died, unplanned, unexpected, not that they were sick, probably they had spoken to family like 5-10 minutes ago, and the next call to family is, sorry, he couldn't make it. Make what? He's dead. I mean, it's quite frightening. Now, this has happened to Anthony Joshua. Unfortunately, we get to hear about it because it happened to Anthony Joshua, VIP, our star boxer, and all of that. These things happen
There's another one
on
that
daily
happened.
basis.
There's another one that involved 7 broadcasters from one of the NTA stations. They went to, I think, Gombe or so for a colleague's wedding, and on their way back,
And all of them died.
seven of them died.
Died.
I think there were 11 in the vehicle.
Okay,
seven died.
So these things happen every day, every other day, in all parts of the country. And it's important to know that the FRS has attributed it to reckless. I like to put the word reckless overspeeding and overtaking. Reckless. And sometimes I wonder, when I drive through the streets of Lagos, even in the expressway here and in Lagos Ibadan, and someone that is driving the same kind of vehicle, the same make, the same model with me, and probably I'm doing 100, and all of a sudden what you hear is via. The person has overtaken you, via. And I'm asking, where is he driving? Where is he going to? Even if you are going to Benin Republic, even if you are going to Cameroon, you will get there.
You see, the funny thing about speeding,
Speeding is that
you have an emergency and you want to get there on time. By the time you get
apply
there,
your brakes.
But no, by the time you get to that destination, another person who's driving at a normal pace will get there
in less than 3 minutes.
Yes.
He's there.
Funny enough.
And people don't know.
Funnily enough.
Don't know. So overspeeding, reckless overspeeding is always the major cause of accidents on our roads. But people don't hear. Here, a young man was driving me, and when he turned under the bridge and sped up, I said, "Organa, first track we dey go." He said, "Okay, I know." I said, No. I know you are going to first track. I'm talking about the speed. We are not going to Ghana. We are not going to Benin Republic. Please slow down. What are you rushing to? What are you rushing to? And I keep saying that, look, it's in Lagos that you understand that there is God, because God answers prayers. Otherwise, the kind of reckless driving, we're supposed to be having more than 1,000 accidents here in Lagos every day. People are not cautious about how they drive. They overtake left, right, and before you know it. And some people will be driving at the other lane. The traffic lane. No, the traffic lane where, buses pull over, unload, offload, and all of that. And you see somebody, private car, you get to the point, to the bus stop, and he's struggling. He's struggling.
Another one that troubles me is this attitude of when you want to overtake, you get so close
to somebody and just swerve.
What's
the meaning of that?
It's scary. It can lead to, one who has a high BP or something, or anxiety issues, can, swerve and then be involved in an accident.
And that's it.
And that's it.
And this thing is happening in a fraction of some seconds.
Exactly.
And before you know it, you see a vehicle that was headed this way, and after an accident, it's turned the other way. You begin to wonder, how did it happen? So the thing is for people to apply caution in driving. Road rage and all of that. Somebody drives wrongly and you have passed. Instead of just going on, you are stopping to caution the person, to rain causes and abuse. One caused me the other day. I said, "What are you driving?" I said, "I'm driving car." And the man started laughing and moved on. Not the motor they drive, it's motor I'm driving. So road rage is another major issue in driving. So people should be very cautious. Like Moses just said now, and I align my thoughts with him. If you are doing 120 and someone is doing 70, 80, by the time you park, in less than 2 minutes, the person is already there. So what was all the speed for? Why unnecessary? Now it has happened. And like Joshua,
what's the condition of our roads? And I hope this will be a wake-up call.
No, okay, the condition of the road, if the roads are not bad, at least to slow you down. And when you slow,
you think it will? What if you're not
familiar with the road? You are not familiar with the road.
The potholes are.
If you are not familiar with the roads, then you drive carefully.
They should fix the roads.
No, they should fix the roads, of course. I had someone that said, "Look, he doesn't want the road to his in front of his house to be fixed." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because if they fix the road, there will be a lot of accidents when people drive.
They'll put the
speed breakers and all of that. So it's important that people should be very cautious, especially this youth child. If you drink, In fact, if you don't drive, and if you have to drink soft drinks or water. That's all. Oh, well, let's move on. The Elegant Nurses Forum has condemned the alleged illegal training, graduation, and public presentation of unqualified individuals as nurses at a clinic in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, warning that the practice poses a grave threat to public health and human lives. Well, in a press statement issued on Monday and signed what taking position, but quackery, pure and simple. The statement warned that the practice gravely endangers patient safety, noting that untrained and unlicensed individuals masquerading as nurses were prone to errors capable of causing severe complications, permanent disability, and avoidable deaths. Well, the Elegant Nurses Forum described the situation as an unacceptable threat to public safety and a violation of the fundamental right to life and quality health care. It also accused the Ogun State Ministry of Health of regulatory failure, alleging that officials responsible for enforcing standards had earlier failed in their duty or actively enabled these illegal practices through corruption and willful negligence, which it described as indefensible. Now, we understand that the particular clinic, the name is the El Shaddai Clinic. Now, what they do is recruit people, train them as nurses, and what caused this problem now is that, look, not just training them, but they even had to parade them as qualified nurses, took pictures, more like a graduation ceremony and all of that. The nursing profession, Florence Nightingale, during the Crimean War, I think that was in 1789 or something, thereabout, and that was how the nursing profession came about, just to tend to people, that were injured during the Crimean War, the original Crimean War, not the recent one, by Putin and his cohorts and all of that. And so the noble profession, nursing, has always been there to assist people, in health facilities, caregivers, and all of that. But we have a situation where in our country here, we at some point we had Moses, I don't know if you're aware, Nurse Eliza. I don't know if you're aware of Nurse Eliza.
Nurse Eliza, the one you just call.
The one that you just call
your neighbor. You just come around and give you injection
and all of that. Nurse Eliza. Somehow they served at that time, but I think we are gradually overgrowing all those.
They are still serving some people.
They are still serving some people. So that is the issue that Elegant Nurses, that the organization, that is the issue they are raising. And they say, look, what is going on in that clinic is quackery.
It's quackery at its highest level, and it's terrible because this involves human lives.
Human lives.
Now,
human lives.
Nursing, for you, I mean, you need to attend the School of Nursing and midwifery and the rest, and you have to
certified schools.
And you have to,
because this is also a school of nursing. Somehow they have one in the clinic because they recruit and train.
That's a school of nursing. That's just a clinic.
It's not certified.
It's not a school of nursing.
Okay, it's not purely not a school of nursing. From what the Elegant Nurses Forum are saying.
Yes, it's not a school of nursing. It's just a clinic that has taken it upon itself to make money by, training nurses. Okay. And how do you train somebody to be a nurse and save life within 6 months?
I don't want to be misunderstood. When I said school of nursing, what I mean is that they run a nursing school there.
No, I no problem. I understand.
Okay, you don't understand. Okay.
Now, were they certified? No, they are not. Who should? I mean, it's are the owners, the organization or the owners of the El Shaddai Clinic? Are they members of the Nigerian Association of National Association of Nigerian
Midwifery Council?
Yeah, NANNM. I think that's the acronym.
I think there's a C there too or something.
No, there's another one.
Okay.
There are a few of them. So are they members of that? What is the bigger organization doing? Because Elegant Nurses, yes, they are concerned, more like an advocacy group, but I should be hearing from the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives. That's NANN. You understand? You understand? I should be hearing from them in this regard. They should be the ones speaking. How do you train to be a qualified nurse in 6 months? It's troubling.
I think that is what they are kicking.
That's what they are kicking against. Because to be a nurse, qualified nurse, you would have spent like 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and then you do their own kind of housemanship as well for another 1 year.
1 year or so.
Before you say, okay, you're certified. Now, but these ones, they will go out there
to expand.
They will inject people.
They do
and
all sorts of things.
death.
They even do prescriptions and all of that. To expand the conversation, you discover that it is not only in the nursing profession. Let me share a short experience. Now, when I went for a surgery the other time, and the doctor wrote a test for me, pericarditis test, prior to surgery and all of that. And what they wrote, how they do it? They tear some paper and that they will use to, when they collect the sample, they will now put it. Is it sample that they call it? No, the
bottle.
No, the bottle.
The container.
Okay, the container. And they will stick something more like a sellotape on it. What they wrote is there. Now, the girl wanted to test for HBC1 and 2. And what the girl wrote there was MP, malaria parasite. And I saw the thing. I said, what did you just write there? She said MP. I said, no, it's not. Look at the prescription paper. Look at the referral listing. She looked and said, oh, sorry. So if I hadn't noticed it, the girl would probably test me for malaria parasite and not the HB1 or HB2
that they were supposed to test you for.
And if I didn't have malaria, you say, okay, I am good. And if I had the other one or so, it will say, now it will read good.
Yes. Because
and now, when you submit it to the doctor will look at it and say, oh, you are suitable for surgery. And you get
but it will indicate that it was MP that was that they tested for.
No, it will not. Because they will have to put the result in the original that was provided.
The result will show, if it's MP they tested, the result will show for MP. Yes. But
no, the result will show for MP. They will put it in place of the other one. But I'm trying to say about misdiagnosis.
Exactly.
It happens at all levels. At all levels. Even medical doctors. You see a medical doctor that is attending to you and he's taking calls. I told you one that, I called him, he said, I'll call you back. I'm in the middle of a surgery. And you're in the middle of a surgery and you are taking my call and you want me to come to your hospital for surgery? It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Pharmacists and all of that. A pharmacist will look at the prescription giving you and say, and when you point out something, oh, I'm sorry, you are sorry?
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Quackery is eating deep into our society. I mean, this is just shared now. Just remember, I went to get medication yesterday because I wasn't feeling so good. And then I got there, asked for the medication I was given. And I asked the young lady there. The pharmacist was not around. So I asked the young lady, so how do I take it? She said, just take. He said, it's for 5 days. So just take it. And by the 3rd day, okay, I complained about it being a lot. Like the tablets are many. I'm like, I can't just take all this. Oh, they're like 10. He said, yes, it's one morning, one night. But if you feel good by the 3rd day, stop it. I said, really?
Can you imagine?
I said, really?
Can you imagine?
I should stop? He said, yeah. I said, oh, are you okay? Because you have a blister. He said, yes, I was not feeling well. And you took drugs, yeah? He said, yes. And you stopped halfway. And she started laughing. I said, you see, that's why your malaria will not go.
Will not go.
And then you're advising me to stop
because
halfway.
They develop resistance to that particular drug. When you take it again, when the antigens come, they will just look at them and
I said, you're advising me now to take the medication and stop halfway. I started laughing. Oh, God, you're stressing me. Okay, just take it and go. But I understand she's not educated in that area. Okay. She's just a sales attendant. But that's the problem. Leaving a sales attendant to attend to people
in a pharmacy.
That could be disastrous.
To have a qualified pharmacist.
That could be disastrous. You see, this also happens in the area of education. I mean, it was not too long ago, sometime earlier in the year, we talked about schools in Benin Republic giving
degree certificates
in about 6 months.
To Nigerians. And 2 weeks. They saw them wearing their convocation gown and all of that, brandishing their certificates, and some of them.
So it's a bigger problem.
Very big problem. But it doesn't take away the fact that, look, we have very, very dedicated nurses, doctors, pharmacists, and health caregivers. Thumbs up to you people. But for those of you that are careless, even where you are qualified, please learn to be more careful with human lives. That is why you are put there in the first place. And in the health sector, any little misdiagnosis causes a very big problem. I quickly remember the issue of Dora Akonyele, And unfortunately and curiously, her own didn't even happen in Nigeria. It was overseas where she was misdiagnosed. At that point, they didn't know that she had cancer and they were treating something that is quite different. Unfortunately, it took her away because at the time they discovered, it was already late. And so these things happen every other day. So we admonish nurses, caregivers, to be very, very careful in attending to people, especially when human lives, are involved. Anyway, let's move away from that. Do we still have time for that?
Oh no, we'll probably take that one in another.
As an information, information, because it's very key, it's very important. Well, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration, NAFDAC, has issued a public alert number 042/2205, warning the public about the sale and distribution of counterfeit kiss condoms in various markets across Nigeria. Well, NAFDAC said the alert followed information received from DKT International Nigeria, the market authorization holder and a leading non-governmental organization involved in contraceptive social marketing, with a focus on providing affordable and safe family planning and HIV/AIDS prevention products. Well, according to the agency, fake condoms of a particular brand have been detected in markets across Nigeria. And so what they are saying is that, look, these condoms are not good because they are fake, and there are signs, that distinguish it from the original and all of that. NAFDAC noted that the counterfeit versions differ significantly from the original product in packaging, labeling, and physical characteristics, and warned that the use of fake condoms poses serious health risks, including ineffective protection against pregnancy and STIs. We just felt it is important, it's necessary to inform the public. So when you are buying the Kiss condom, be very careful that you buy the original.
All right, then now let's quickly take a few headlines from the dailies, newspaper headlines, that is. Nigerian Tribune has these headlines. Window headlines here. LG Autonomy. Court grants 774 local councils direct access to UBEC intervention funds. New tax laws will help, not hurt airlines. Tax Reform Committee. Allegations against ex-NMDPRA boss. Dangote seeks January date to appear before ICPC. And then Anthony Joshua stable in hospital after car crash. Accident claims 2 lives. We hear he's in the Duchess Hospital here in Lagos. Well, I never promised to hold PDP for Tinubu Wike. Turaki-led NWC attacks FCT minister. Okay. All right, then let's see. How these things can be. Well, PDP missing as INEC publishes names of governorship candidates. And then another big story there. Troops kill 80 terrorists, rescue 34 victims in multi-state operations. NAF airstrikes flatten bandits' enclaves. Kill dozens in Zamfara. DSS arrests suspected killers of Cross River medical practitioner Professor Ekanem. Army confirms US-led strikes neutralized Sokoto terror camps. And then, in the area of health, mammograms to predict heart disease risk in women. Well, these are the headlines on the cover page of Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, let's quickly run through the Daily Sun. Beside the nameplate, suspend implementation of new tax laws. Reps Caucus tells federal government. Groups use Tinubu, NAS, Attorney General of the Federation, others. NLC backs mandatory drug test for job applicants. Now, the big story, 2027, Nyesom Wike replies Sheyi Makinde, accuses Oyo governor of hiding 30 billion naira donation from president. Says no strong opposition against Tinubu as ADC not on ground. And now that's the picture of the accidented vehicle that where Anthony Joshua and his friends were involved in. FRSC blames Anthony Joshua's auto crash over excessive speed, wrongful overtaking. Tinubu, Ogun government mourn victims of accident. And it ends there. Well, Abia, Gombe, Nasarawa, Ogun, Kano, Oshun, Anambra, Ondo governors signed 2026 budgets into law. Troops kill 80 terrorists, rescue 34 victims in multi-state operations. Bandits kill 8 in 3 KB communities. NCAA counters Onyema, rejects tax blame for high airfares. New law not burden for airlines, federal government. And now that's it from the Daily Sun newspaper.
And that's pretty much how far we can go on newspaper headlines. 10 o'clock, we'll go deeper into the headlines on newspaper review. In the meantime, let's get into one of the conversations this morning. Nigerian court declares local governments autonomous and state control of Universal Basic Education Fund. Let's talk about this. It feels like a good way to end 2025. Join us again as we discuss this.
Views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city. The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents,
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of
In a world where power shifts with every headline,
In a nation full of questions.
in a world filled with noise,
That determines our future.
every buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters.
If you are just joining us, this is a federal place them under state control. In a judgment delivered on October 13, 2025, University of to independently, with 3 months, formally notify all 37 state universal basic education boards and the 774 local government education authorities of the court's decision. The court clearly informed GEAs, that is the government education authorities, that are now entitled to apply for and receive federal education grants directly from UBEC without going through state governments or suburbs. Meanwhile, the court ordered the local governments must, through their respective LGEAs, pay their counterpart funds and access UBA grants directly from UBEC without interference from suburbs. The court emphasized that local governments shall not, may, the word there is shall, and not may access the funds directly. The judgment effectively ends the practice whereby suburbs applied for and administered UBE funds on behalf of local governments, often retaining control of the funds or failing to apply for them altogether. Well, joining us to make sense of this, we have in the studio here Prince Francis Chilaka. He's a political and public affairs analyst. Good morning, the Prince, and thanks for being here. We appreciate your presence. Once again, thank you very much. And we also have in the studio Mr. Elvis Elimi Hele. Elvis is a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much, Elvis, for being part of the show. We appreciate your presence.
Good morning.
And from Abuja, we have been joined by Mr. Julius Ogunro. Julius is a media and political consultant. Good morning to you, Mr. Ogunro. Thanks for being part of the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, good to have you. Compliments of the season once again. We'll be joined from Oka by Barrister Clems Agui. Clems Agui is a lawyer, columnist, and political activist. He's also a public affairs analyst and former council chairman of Njikoka, local government area of Anambra State. Good morning to you, Barrister Clems Agui.
Okay. Good morning, and pleased to have you have me in your studio this morning.
Okay, beautiful. Gentlemen, thanks for being part of the show. Let me start with you, Elvis. We have Justice Emeka with say, look, local governments, you are a theater of government as authorized by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. And we also know that the same Constitution gave the state government, the State House of Assembly, by the way, the power to make laws for the good governance and administration of local governments. Isn't that some form of contradiction by the same Constitution? And we have this lawyer, a High Court judge, we have this judge, a High Court judge for that matter, interpret the letters of the Constitution in this way, saying local governments, now henceforth, 13th October, you are autonomous. What's your reaction to this development?
I think I love that judgment.
Okay.
Yes. It's, I think it's a continuation of, local government has had judgment in the past that has given them that now you are no more under state governors. You are going to be getting your subvention directly from federal allocation. Even last time, about 2 weeks ago, President Tinubu still harped on it. Why is the state government still ambushing the local government? That you have not still allowed them to function as, an independent body at the third tier of government. He used one word that they say, I own the knife and I own the yam.
Okay.
If you don't allow the local government to function as expected, I authorize that their deduction will be coming directly from FAC without the state not even knowing how the allocation gets to the local government.
Okay.
That is the first thing that gave birth to what we have seen now. This one that we've seen is a continuation of that, and it's a good one.
Okay, as far as you're concerned, it's a good
one. It's a good one, because if you look at it, Mr. Okoro, local governments are closer to the people. And this local government, if we are talking of states, some states, we get to some states, primary schools, some local government primary school and secondary school, children still sit on the floor without desk. This one is very easy for even the councillor within that ward to know that the primary school in his own ward, the primary schools in his own ward, some of them don't have ordinary seat to sit on. And be able to table it before the chairman of the local government, in their own executive session too, and say, okay, this is what my people need. But the situation where the governor sits in the state headquarters and decides what's happening, and he doesn't know what is actually happening at the down part of the government he pretends to be superintending.
All right, thank you. The Prince, before I come to you, I want us to untie the legal knot, Barrister Clems Agui, thanks for joining us again. Now, Barrister Clems Agui, I want us to look into the legal perspective of this development now. We have a Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that clearly states that, look, that empowers the State House of Assembly to make laws for the good governance and administration of local governments. Now, we have a High Court judge said, look, local governments, you are a theater of government in Nigeria, federal, state, and local government. And so I've granted you autonomy by this judgment and gave 3 months for implementation, starting with unbundling what we know as the UBEC and the SUBEC. now giving authorities to the local area administrations to take care of local education at their level. Clem, I would like for you to help us. This judgment that was delivered by Justice Mwite, how consistent is it with the letters of our Constitution?
Well, good morning once again, and thank you very much for asking that question and to seek legal clarification. Section 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria specify how Nigeria should be governed and made a constitution supreme, and that any place that the constitution come into conflict with any other law, the constitution remains supreme. The constitution provided for the local government to be able to function as a third tier of government. And the same constitution gave state powers to form what they call JAC, Joint Allocation Committee, whereby the funds that accrue to the state, the local government goes into JAC and then being managed. And then we shouldn't forget where we are coming from. We are coming from an era where most local governments were not responsible enough. They didn't have the capacity to actually manage this affairs very well. We had the primary school teachers not being paid. But if you look at the name UBEC is Universal Basic Education, which is what to go across. That's the only compulsory education that you have in Nigeria. And every other education, be it university education, secondary school education, are luxury. You must not go to you must not go to SS3, and it's not a compulsion. But the compulsion that must be literate, must go through primary school, and that falls under local government. I've been a local government chairman, and I did not like the state of our primary education. But the teachers were happy that at least they're getting their salary, because the states were able to curb the nuisance that was caused by previous local government administration who misapplied their priorities. This is what the people want. But then legally, the states were not equally wrong, because the constitution provided also that the state assembly should make law for the good governance of the state. And the state hide under these provisions to make these laws that we are frowning at today. The law is what the court said it is, unfortunately, whether you like it or not. Once the court make a pronouncement that this is what the law is, some school of thought believe that is what the law has said.
But Mr. Clem, I'm sorry, I had to bust in. Now we have a situation where this court now is the court of first instance. We have the appeal court and the Supreme Court. If you say that the law is what the court says it is, we have situations where a high court said something and the appeal court says no. So what becomes of the law at that point?
Yes, until the court is one court.
Okay.
Whether it is high court or appeal court or Supreme Court, it is one court. The court is, when I say the law is what the court said it is. It also applies to any level of court. It applies to the high court. It applies to the Supreme Court. It applies to the appeal court. It all depends on what the people that are involved, the litigants and that are involved with the case, where they want to terminate.
Okay. Now, in this case, I understand that we are openings, for this case to, move up to the level of the Supreme Court. Does the court have the authorities to change the letters of the Constitution through the process of interpretation?
The only person that can interpret the Constitution is the court.
Okay.
Whatever the court says the Constitution is what it is. If you don't like it, you go and change the law in the National Assembly. That is the only thing you can do to the letter, to the interpretation of the Constitution by the court, because only the court that can interpret. It's not me and you that will interpret it. You may not like what the interpretation. The only thing you can do is appeal it, and if you appeal it and uphold it up to the Supreme Court, that is what the Constitution is. The only remedy there again is to go and change the Constitution and remedy it in the Constitution. Otherwise, you have every duty and obligation to uphold the Constitution. Anybody who is opposed to what the Supreme Court has said in any judgment should go to God and appeal. But like I said, primary health education, by the word primary, is supposed to be the responsibility of local governments. Universal basic education is supposed to be the responsibility of local government because they are the ones nearer to the people. But question is this: has this local government the capacity? Are they responsible enough? Have they been able to manage that very responsibility that led us to this? The state didn't just jump into primary education. We have an era before, the past 10 years or 15 years, where there is always strike in our primary education. Teachers were not being paid. And these are the foundation grounds whereby teachers need to be paid and need to be motivated. We have primary schools that are leaking, that have no chairs, that have nothing to work. In fact, you cannot even do it. It's like a pig house. And you ask yourself, the state that even took over it, what are they doing better than the local government, except from paying salaries of these teachers that are working there? So if the court have paid this, but my own is this: every level of government in Nigeria, their capacity should be built to be able to assume and take care of their responsibility. The problem we have today in Nigeria, be it unemployment, be it security, be it anything that you look at, have to come from the fact that our basic education has been fundamentally structured wrong. That we are graduating people who are not employable, people who are not responsible, people without values, because we are having an education system that are not peculiar or streamlined or synergic to the need of the people. We're not producing our needs in every aspect of our education.
Thank you very much, Barrister Clem. I agree. You just took that one out of my mouth. I was going to ask that question. So let me just pose it to Prince Francis Chilaka here. I was going to ask about maturity. You think our local governments are institutionally mature enough to handle this?
You ask a very funny question. Are your governors matured enough to handle their states?
How is that funny?
It's all about leadership. It's all about trust. It's all about accountability. It's all about taking responsibility. So if you're saying that the local government chairman cannot take responsibility, they cannot be accountable, are your governors doing the same? It's one thing for us to sit down and be, talking about a judgment by a high court and all of that. It's a wonderful judgment. But I'll tell you this for free, that the financial autonomy of local governments in Nigeria is more of a myth than a reality. It will not work so long as the state governors still have a hand in deciding who becomes a local government chairman. So we cannot be talking about autonomy of local government while your state governor is the one who controls the state electoral commission.
So you don't think this will alter the balance of power in any way?
It will not work. It will not do anything. Your president who had a meeting with the governors and was telling them, oh, why are you not allowing this? Was he not once a governor? How did he handle the local government funds? What created a problem between him and the Obasanjo administration? Was it not local government? So when people talk, sometimes they must face the reality. The reality on ground is that the governors across board, irrespective of our political party, they have seen local government funds as funds for enjoyment. They have tasted the cookie and it's so sweet that they cannot move their hands out of it. So any autonomy you're talking about, financial autonomy, whatever, you cannot talk of financial autonomy when you do not address the issue of how they come to power.
Will it be appropriate, to go to the Constitution and remove that power of State House of Assembly to make clause for the good governance of local governments? Will it be appropriate? Is it going to solve the problem?
If you're going to remove that, if you're going to go to the Constitution, there are a lot of things that will drag everybody to the Constitution. You start first of all from the campaign of politicians.
I'm coming. I want us to talk about how to make local governments autonomous.
We will talk about it. You cannot talk about it without addressing the issues. There are serious issues on ground. And these are issues that are, holding the local government down. The issue of the control of the governors. The issue of the control of the electoral process.
That's my direct.
So we need to go, if we want to do that, we need to go to the Constitution.
Okay.
And we start by saying, if you decamp from party A to party B, you lose your position. If you don't do that, the governors will continue to misbehave the way that
Prince, you're talking about the total overhaul, right? Total overhaul of the Constitution.
You cannot be doing
now what I'm saying is, okay, we started. It
is not working. It is not working.
Electricity, is it not working? We still state governments build power plants.
Your national grid just collapsed.
Oh, but it doesn't remove the fact that the states have power plants.
How are the states getting the power?
No, but at least the power plants.
How are the states getting the power?
The power plants.
If the national grid collapses and it affects Lagos, affects Ondo, affects everywhere. So what is the power of the states? In one hand, the federal government will say, we are taking our hands off of this. On the other hand, the federal government is the one controlling what you get from it.
All right, let's not deviate from the conversation. Let's take this conversation to Abuja, where we have Julius Oguro. Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Now, should we have, talking about local government autonomy and the ruling coming from the courts, and then what the president said at a meeting where he said, look, why is this not being implemented yet? And then we have the courts basically issued a ruling. Do you think we should have a phase by phase implementation? Do you think that will do us a lot more better than this, rapid implementation as declared by the courts now?
Well, I don't think it's a radical or rapid implementation. I think it's clear. The Constitution is clear about the autonomy of the local government, that is not subsidiary or subordinate to the state government. But the Constitution also has some challenges. There are some issues while this autonomy of the local government is not complete. For instance, the Constitution makes provision that the state government and the local government should have a joint account. It is from that joint account that money is taken to pay the salaries of teachers. Like the previous speaker said, when the local government were managing payment of teachers' salary and all the rest, it was very bad. Teachers were owed salary. There was a lot of deficiency. So the Constitution makes allowance for this joint account management, and that gives control to the state government. Also, when it comes to local government elections, it's conducted by the state government, and we know what has happened over the past. So the issue is not about the text in the Constitution. It's about the practicality of it. So until we deal with these issues that make it impossible for it to be practical, for it to be implemented, for it to be totally and fully effective, you will just be dancing around it. This court decision is not different from previous, even from the Supreme Court that has declared that local government is autonomous and all that. But the state government said, so what do you do with the provision of the Constitution that says that the funds for local government and should be kept in a joint account that also has funds from the state government and managed by the state government? What do you do with that? I think we have to deal with it politically, not legally, not through judicial means. We have to go back to the provisions of the Constitution that gives the state control over local government and deal with those issues there. It is after we have dealt with the issues at that level we can now come to implementation. Then the issue I have with such decision is about capacity. In local government, we have a serious issue of capacity because the local governments are seen as appendage of state government and are controlled by state government. Talents have moved up. Nobody is interested in anybody who is a person of quality that's interested in working as a councillor, or it is a governor that just decide you be here, just that. So we have had, even as their civil service, nobody wants to remain in local government when they could work in the federal or state government or work somewhere else. So we have serious issue of capacity. So when we also have to deal with that going forward. When we have dealt with it politically, perhaps talent will move downwards. We need our local government to be effective.
Mr. Guru, you said something that struck me now. You talk about how to, decontrol, remove local government from the state's control. Do you by chance have a prescription how you think that we can do that politically?
Like I said earlier, I said that the way to deal with it is politically.
Okay.
The latest judgment is not dissimilar to the previous ones we've had. The Supreme Court has ruled clearly. Several governments, several courts have ruled. The federal government, the local government is not subordinate to the state government. It is a different tier of government. It's a third tier. It is not a subsidiary. But nothing gets done. The reason why we have to go to court again and again is that they were never implemented. Those judgments were never implemented. The status quo remains, which is that the state government controls the state the local government, whether it is fund for payment of, they control the state government. And I said that, to be very fair, the constitution also states that there should be a joint account between the local government and the state government, and the state government apparently controls that fund. That for us to deal with these issues, we have to deal with it politically.
The question. That is the political.
Yes, we have to deal with the provision of the
Will it make a
constitution.
difference? Will it make a difference if we had the Independent National Electoral Commission
That is one leg of it.
conduct
Yes,
elections for
that is
local
one leg
governments
of
instead
it.
of the
That is one leg
state
of it.
independent electoral commissions? Would that make a difference?
Fantastic. That will make a difference. That's one leg of it. That means the elections will be fairer, more competitive, and open. People, independent candidate, people can come and run for election, but nobody runs for a local government election without the endorsement of the state government, because the elections are conducted by the state independent electoral commission, which is, they are really not election, that's selection. You understand it? So if you have that, that's one leg of it. Then two, the provision of the constitution that states that the local government and the state government should have a joint account will also have to be dealt with. Maybe we have to go and amend the constitution. I think that provision is section 162 of the Nigerian Constitution, and it says that each state shall maintain a special account to be called the state joint local government account, into which shall be paid all allocation to local government council of the state from the federation account and from the government of the state. Do you understand? So you have to deal with it. Without dealing with it, how do you manage the account of the local government when the funds are domiciled in a joint account? How does the local government function?
Well,
they don't pay money directly to local government. It's in that joint account. And whether you have all the independent in theory, when it comes to the practical implementation of it, the state is still in charge. So I don't think legally we can just deal with it by going to court and getting a judgment. The state boils down to who manages the fund in the state.
Now, who manages the funding brings me to another question, really. But let me bring this back to the studio. Mr. Elvis Elimihele. Now, talking about who manages, oversight. Let's look at oversight now. If this goes into effect now, who basically becomes the primary oversight body over the local government autonomy? Is it the federal government? Is it the state government? Is it the anti-graft agencies? Who should oversee expenditure and activities of the local government under this rule?
If they are granted the autonomous that the president is talking about, and which we have seen the laws has also, they've gotten judgment on, the same way that the state are being supervised by the anti-graft body.
And so the anti-graft agencies take charge.
Yes. You see, what happened to local government is they gave them right with one hand and withdrew it with the other hand. They've not given them that right in total. When the Supreme Court gave that judgment should have been a complete one. It should have also spoke about the election in local government, who conducts it. Then it should have also been talking about how parties, not governors, parties should be able to do a transparent primaries for local government chairmen and councillors. If the State Electoral Commission is not part of those people, the one that is conducting election for local government, it will weaken the governors. Let it be that INEC that conducts the state and executive election and the legislative election also conduct the local government election. That will free local government from the ambit of the governors. But a situation where you say you are giving them autonomous and the governor is still the one, that constitutes the State Electoral Commission, will still be the person that will conduct the election for local government, it will not work. That's where the issue is. That's why you still see the chairman still become appendage of the governors. If that is freed and unbounded, say, governors, you don't have hands, State Electoral Commission don't have hands. I know these are constitutional matter, but the Supreme Court too ought to have still gone further to complete the autonomous that they gave to the local government. By the time they still allow that to hang with the governors, they have not completed their judgment. And again, that who oversees them also will not be that the same way we now say, this governor is not doing well, let the anti-graft agency look into their books. Will not be also be able to tell them that now that INEC conduct their election, in fact, it will even be a threat. The governors will also sit well on in their own respective offices and do the needful, because if they know too well that local government is no longer part of them, they cannot just come and would the local government chairman and say, okay, I want you to give me your own local government. They will also they also sit tight that make sure that the local government themselves are developed. They will also find a way to make sure that they are in conjunction with the local government chairman to get development across board. But a situation where the man sits in the state capital and tell the local government chair, this is the person that will be the local government chairman, and that when the election comes, say, you must deliver your own local government for me, that's where the matter is still having some issues. Let it still be unbundled that the election into local government councils is not being conducted by state electoral commission.
Well, godfatherism is basically what we are talking about here.
It's godfatherism, yes, because it has not been completely. They have not really completely freed the local government chairman.
There's no. We are not going to completely free anybody from that right now in Nigeria. That has eaten deep into the fabric of our society, and it will continue. But looking at governance now, is this victory for governance in total, or just political victory?
No, it's a political victory. It's not in total yet, because we just made made mention of some of the areas now that needed to still be strengthened before we can be talking of victory in total. It's still a political matter. But as this judgment came yesterday, I mean, the local government chairman, there's no local government chairman that can look face to face with the governor and say, come, this is the judgment, and I want it to be executed as it is given. It's not possible, because by tomorrow, you will hear that local government chairman has been thrown out. You saw what happened in Edo State when Governor Otedola came in. Before you knew what was happening, the 18 local government chairmen, all of them started, the impeachment was constituted against them, and they threw all of them out because Otedola wanted a situation where we were able to sit.
Situation, do we blame the governor, or do we blame the councillors that sat together and impeached the local government chairman? Who should take responsibility for that?
Where is the councillor coming from? The councillor is coming from the governor. We blame the governor because they know that the governor has the knife and he has the yam. So if the councillor is not ready to do the bidding of the governor, then they are going to go off. We even saw what happened in Otedola local government. That's my state. Otedola local government. The people that even impeached the Otedola local government chairman they're not even the councillors. They were people that were brought in. And because they know too well that the governor is so powerful, and they brought them in, and they not even in the local government secretariat. They did this somewhere and removed the local government chairman. Why is it possible? Because the power of the governor is still so much on the local government administration in Nigeria. So if the election is coming from INEC, it will be a little bit sanitized to some extent. A situation where the governor of the state electoral commission that will do election only into the only election they conduct is local government chairman election and councillors. That's the only election they have, and it's considered by the governor. Forget about it. No local government chairman can exercise his right before a governor.
The prince. The prince. There's something I want us to talk about. The current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, seems to be tiptoeing around the issue of local government autonomy. First of all, he went to the Supreme Court through the Attorney General to say, look, pay money directly to local governments. And somehow the governors were able to botch it. They even went to court. Again, we see another High Court judge say, look, SUBEP funds go directly to local government. And the president has an Attorney General who clearly understands that an act of parliament cannot be changed by the courts. Why does he keep tiptoeing around it? What is political about this local government autonomy? Do you think that the president sincerely wants local governments to be autonomous?
In all honesty, this president is a beneficiary of the flaw in the local government process. He is a beneficiary. And you cannot stop what you have benefited from. You cannot. The only way you can stop it is if you're not a beneficiary. Take for instance, we talk about vote buying. And the National Assembly or the legislators were faced with, making a law that makes it punishable. Did they agree? They did not agree. Because they are beneficiaries. say, Okoro, we talk about local government. We'll be talking about local government. Please mention one local government in any state that they conducted an election, that the party at the head in that state did not win all the local government.
In recent times, no, but in the past, when Oyuke was governor, it was equal in number between PDP and the
We're talking of now.
Okay.
Mention one.
Since APCK.
Mention one. So if you tell me that there is one, then I will now understand. You saw what played out in Lagos now, Okoro. You saw what played out in Lagos State local government election, especially the one that involved Obasa son. The son came out to contest as a chairman, and the people said, "We don't want you." The party said, "Okay, if you cannot be a chairman, we will take you as our vice." It was not the people that decided that; it was the party. Is he not the local government chairman today?
Absolutely.
So, as it is now, you want to tell me now that he's a local government chairman, he will go and confront the governor with this new law? There is no local government chairman in this country today that will go and stand in front of His Excellency and say, this money you can't touch. In less than 2 minutes, he will be in the governor's office. They would have impeached him from the council. So the problem is not that we do not have men and women who can actually work and move the local government forward. We do have them. But we have a force that is stronger than them, that is making it impossible for them to move forward.
A force stronger than them, stronger than the local government chairman. Well, Barrister Clem, you were once a local government chairman. How did you deal with that force, the very strong force? And how would you advise, what would you advise going forward? Barrister Clem, if you can hear me.
One thing I noticed in our commentaries here this morning is that some of us are not analyzing like politicians, and they have not equally have the experience of.
Well, you are a politician in our midst, so give us your analysis.
I'm a politician, and sometimes because I've been a local government chairman, though appointed, I can tell you the realities.
No, you were appointed.
Yes. Okay. But I was local government chairman, so I have that experience of public office, of how this thing works. You understand? Why I agree with local government autonomy. I've told you here that when I came in, I saw the fact that the local government administration over the years has so much been bastardized that people in the local government, both from the public servants there to the civil servants, lack the capacity and the responsibility. And there have been no deliberate plan, intentional plan to build their capacity to be able to take that huge responsibility. And sometimes I tell people, it's not about who conducts this election. It's not about how these elections were conducted. Sometimes I look at the character of the people that have won this election, even if it is INEC that conducted it. INEC conducted the election that have people in the House of Assembly. What are they doing? The appendage of many state governors, the rubber stamp. INEC conducted the senatorial elections and the House of Reps elections. What is the product we're getting from the characters that are in this Senate and in this House of Representatives? INEC conducted election that elected governors, but the president woke up and will tell you that he had removed this governor, and they will perpetuate what they call a state of emergency and sack a sitting governor that was elected. The matter went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court never attended to it until the 6 months suspension were over. And when they came out with their ruling, it was so vague and ambiguous that it almost gave the president the power to remove governors. So I look at the character of the individuals that has been there. Sometimes how you get into office is important, but what matters more is what you do with that office. I'm a student of history, and I've studied developments across the globe, across the world. Some people who came in as dictators, nobody elected them. They came in as military rulers. They built their nation. They built their state. If you look at even the contribution of the military in some areas, put it side by side with what politicians have been able to do, you find that the military did even better than the politicians in terms of vision, in terms of building, in terms of all these things. That does not mean to say that I do not support local government autonomy. I do. But states must be intentional in developing the capacity of these people.
Okay.
You don't put somebody who have not seen one.
All right. Barrister Clem.
He has 2 billion naira.
Okay, Barrister Clem, we are coasting home on this topic. We like your admiration of local government autonomy, but what we are discussing is the practicability of it all. And talking about the practicability of it and the characters of the people involved. Now, the question I want to ask is, some people have also, talking about the practicability, by the way, some people have said that, look, Nigeria is a federal system, and that in a federal structure, that there are only 2 types of government: the states, which are the federating, the states and the federating, which are the federating units, and the central government. And if you understand history, you're students of history, if you go to United States, UK, and places where there are federal authorities, even in Germany, the local councils are always creation of the federating units. So talking about the practicability of it, I would like for you to prescribe to us, how do you think that we can go about getting local government autonomy? If you understand the barriers that we have around here, the characters of people involved, how do we weed out all those impurities and ensure that we have local government autonomy here? Is it a possibility? Is it something that can happen someday?
Bringing the issue that you brought up about who are the federating units. The structure of Nigeria has been an ongoing conversation. Are the federating units the local government? Are the federating units the state governments and the federation? In fact, who even agreed on the federating units? Nigeria has never sat down to say these are the federating units of Nigeria. Before, we used to think that the federating units, because we borrow from America, are the local government, the state government, and the federal government. But suddenly it begins to be interpreted that, the local government are not federating units. They are appendage of the state. The state have oversight over them. Somebody said that EFCC need to oversight the local government. EFCC jurisdiction to investigate financial crime in local governments. The people that are given the responsibility to oversight local governments is the State House of Assembly of every state. But how are they doing that job of oversighting local government? Are they doing that job of oversight by going to go and stampede the local government chairman to share the money with them in the name of oversight? Or are they actually looking at what needs to be done and making sure that it is done? So right. the Nigerian situation is very terrible. And a way of moving forward, like you rightly asked, is one, take a hard look at the Constitution and also all these judgments. Because some of these judgments are in conflict in some aspects of the Constitution. When you talk about joint local government account, you have to abolish it for local government to be able to get their money directly.
Okay.
And when you abolish it, you also have to empower the House of Assembly to make sure that they carry out their oversights. And there's a template on how these things can be done. Even when I was local government chairman, let me tell you, I have a template on how we administer local government, even though we are appointed. But when we get any money, whether it is 1 million naira, we have a stakeholders meeting. I will tell them I will have 1 million naira. What project do you want in your area? I have 5 communities under me. They will identify their projects. As the projects are going on, we are documenting before and after and when it is ongoing. And if this project is going to last 6 months, we'll have two times review, whereby both the contractor and the works department will come and tell us what they are doing, how much they are spending, and what they have spent so far, where the job is. The communities are there listening to you, watching it on the screen. And by the time you finish, they will ask you questions. And if you're lying that you have done 80%, the community will tell you no. This is work. It's not up to 30%. And if you're telling them you have used 30 million naira to prepare ground and clear bush, they will listen to you and hear you. But when I was doing that, most of the stakeholders didn't like what I was doing because some of them were the contractors brought in by the state. But I want them to be accountable. But you see, the system does not even want you to tell the truth. These things can be done. Because I did it. And the way I did it was to make sure that the finance of local government, whatever we are getting, is open. People in the state didn't like it because they didn't know, they didn't want you to
Absolutely.
know what even is available there.
I understand your passion in this area. I mean, it's an area that you've been in, and I understand your passion. But we don't have all the time for this conversation. There are other conversations we'd like to chime in on as well. So let me go to Julius Oguro now. Let's have your concluding thoughts on this one. Julius Oguro, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Go right ahead.
Well, I think the point has been made clear. You know, we could have as many court judgments as possible. Does not mean anything will change. For that to be a change, I think we have to deal with it politically. We have to amend the constitution, take away the power of the state to conduct the local government election, give more oversight to the State House of Assembly managing the local government, then also amend the part of the constitution that states that states and local government could have a joint account. If you take all those, if you take out all those issues, you could have what you want without actually going to court. It would be more easy to have a competitive, effective local government.
All right, then, thank you very much,
gentlemen. We get more judgments, and it will not make any difference.
It will make a difference indeed. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Now let's dive into another conversation. Prince Francis Chilak had mentioned this during the conversation. He talked about the national grid collapsing. Oh, well, there was a national grid collapse yesterday, and it threw the nation into darkness. And, power was later restored in some parts as there was 0 megawatts generation at some point, but then it rose to about 3,000, 30,000 and the rest. But that is on one side. Now, businessman Otedola has withdrawn his investment from Geregu power plant. Well, let's x-ray this conversation in a bit. Join us again. Well, parts of Nigeria was thrown into darkness on Monday as the national grid collapsed, and the Nigerian Independent System Operator, NISO, confirmed the collapse on a statement on X on Monday. Well, NISO, responsible for overseeing the national power supply to electricity distribution companies, said supply dropped to 50 megawatts as restoration of the grid began. Now, earlier, on December 27, the Nigerian Independent System Operators, NISO, said power generation in Nigeria had improved after the Nigerian Gas Infrastructure Company repaired the vandalized Escravos Lagos gas pipeline. Now, on December 16, the operator said electricity generation on the national grid reduced due to gas supply constraints following an explosion at the pipeline. Meanwhile, billionaire businessman Femi Otedola has sold his majority stake in Geregu Power PLC for 1.088 trillion naira in a deal financed by a consortium of banks led by Zenith Bank PLC. The Nigerian Exchange made this announcement on Monday. Otedola's Amperion Power Distribution Company Limited reportedly held nearly 80% of the power generating company. Now, with this development, Otedola, chairman of First Holdco Limited, parent company of First Bank of Nigeria PLC, will reportedly now concentrate on expanding his interest in the Nigerian banking sector, although he still retains some shares in Geregu. Otedola is said to currently own 17.01% of First Bank, its single largest shareholder since the bank was established in 1894. So, power grid collapse, NISO, and all of this. Let me start off with you, Prince Francis, because you're already lamenting the collapse. And the Minister of Power seems to be more interested in politics now than...
He hasn't hidden that. Like we said, when he decided to create bandwagons of different types, band A, band B, down to bandwagon, people said, first of all, everybody said he wasn't competent enough to be the Minister of Power. He didn't have what it takes to be the Minister of Power. And we've seen it play out that since he became a minister, the national grid has, I think it's about the fourth or fifth time, it's collapsing under him. Even with all the bans he created, Nigerians are still not getting light. And interestingly, Mr. President campaigns, I remember in 2022, 2023, one of his campaign slogan was that, if I don't give you power in 6 months, don't bring me back when I come for a second term. So I keep asking myself, Mr. President, you seem to have already seen the future before you became a president. Because the way it is, I don't see any Nigerian in his right mind, with what has happened with power, that would consider Mr. President for a job second time, because he has not done well. It's either the president has not done well, or the president has chosen somebody who didn't have the capacity to do the job. So that's one side. Now, talking about Otedola withdrawal, you see, when they started with the sale of NEPA, there's a question we kept asking, and nobody has answered. Those who bought the asset of Nigerians, asset of you and I, what did they bring to the table? What infrastructural edifice, what have they brought to the table to add value to what we have? Because if those who bought NEPA had brought something to the table, we wouldn't be having all this national grid collapse. Because they would have brought infrastructure. But you're still using the same old poles, some sticks that are broken. You go around, you see sticks, they have cables, the cables are pulling the sticks down. So those who bought it just for the fact that they bought it cheap to start with. It was an asset that was sold cheaply to them. And like everybody has said, our former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, was in the forefront of this. And people said he sold our assets to his cronies.
Prince, I think what they bought is the distribution. What NEPA was, PHCN was unbundled, while federal government still retains 100% ownership of transmission lines TCN. So,
whatever
it wasn't sold.
Whatever you buy, Okoro, the people who bought, what did they bring on board? Are we forgetting that when Fashola was the Minister of Power, you remember, something happened. Maybe Nigerians forget so easily. These discos and whatever you call them, they were collecting 750 naira per month per household without anything. They call it service charge. Whether they give you light or they don't give you light. Do you know how much they made from that? It took the intervention of Fashola to stop that rubbish. Today in Nigeria, people are still paying for darkness. Why? Because most houses have not been metered. And most houses that have been metered, some people living in areas where you don't even expect anything have been pushed to band A.
All right, then.
So people have been forced into a band that the federal government itself has existed from.
Prince, before we leave you, now Moses asked a question. We see the Minister of Power, Otedola, is more interested in becoming governor for your state than actually working. Will it be possible, is there a way that we can make a law that says, look, because he's not alone on this. We see a lot of ministers, who are working very hard, to become state governors and senators. And in the midst of all of this, what suffers it is governance. Can we make a law that says, look, it's only technocrats that should be appointed into government? Is there a possibility it could happen?
You need to ask, why do these people get into politics, first and foremost? It's not because they want to give good governance to the people. No. It's because they want to raise money for politics, for the elections.
Exactly my point.
That's the so that, and you know we have a government or we have a system where people get compensated. The problem with Nigerian system is compensation. I've become a governor, I'll compensate my friends.
I think the question he's asking is, if technocrats are appointed, they probably may not be interested in running for office, and so will concentrate on what they have been given to do, as against appointing a politician who has his hand here and, you know, is eyeing it differently and is distracted from doing what he's been appointed.
Your former INEC chairman, was he a politician or a technocrat?
What about him?
I'm asking a question. Everybody's keeping quiet.
When we asked you the question,
was he a person? No, we're having a conversation here. Was he a politician or a technocrat? Has it, as a technocrat, as at that time, did he explain to you and I what caused the glitch?
So, but at least at that point,
it's not about.
At that point, nobody told us that he wanted to be governor of Kebbi State, governor of Sokoto State, or governor of State.
It's not about technocrat or a politician. It's about integrity. It's an individual thing.
Exactly, Prince.
So
I don't want us to drag this because we see a pattern. We see a pattern where most politicians who are appointed, are given ministerial positions, you know, are always struggling with having to maintain office and maintain their political structure. And
it's the same thing with the technocrats. If you appoint a technocrat tomorrow who doesn't have common sense, who doesn't have a staying spirit, who doesn't have integrity, the moment he begins to look, I see what his governor is making, he wants to be there. So it's about an individual person, it's about individuality. It's about you knowing that I am appointed to do this job. Let me close my eyes to other things and face this job.
All right, Mr. Elvis, what was your reaction? Power failure?
Yeah, it is actually difficult for you to talk about power failure in Nigeria and not talk about those people that bought NEPA. As at the time, we were even crying that NEPA was not doing well. And those that bought it came, and even today we are seeing that it's even worse off. You know, we have generation, we have distribution, and we have transmission. Where is this problem actually coming from? Generation, as we speak, is doing well to some extent. They even tell you that they generated and they don't have the transmission and the distribution don't have the means to take what they have generated when they push it into national grid. Then that now comes to play. Why is the federal government still holding on to transmission? Transmission has
the TCN has been unbundled. It's now owned by Nigeria Independent.
It was just done recently when they started saying, okay, the state can now also generate and do all that. That was this recent. Before now, you see, you don't, as you unbundled in about 6 months ago or thereabout, it's not enough for you to now begin to talk that it has been unbundled. They own transformers. They are the one that maintain transformers, the one that maintain cables. And most of these cables are so weak that even when the generation is pushed in, it cannot take it. And now, they have just, the government have just told us that it's been unbundled. What the people that are presently managing it, do you know their profile? Do you even know whether they are capable enough to actually do the job they've been given? So when you give job to people that don't, like you were asking Prince, the minister, these are politicians. Politicians will not allow technocrats to take over their job because they will tell you that they work for that government to come into power. And as a result, when they must benefit from what they work for. So that's why you cannot get technocrats completely as ministers or as commissioners in any state, because the politician will tell you, this is our government, why did we fight? There was a time they said, I called you to come and eat. There was a statement like that in this nation. I called you to come and eat. What were they coming to talk about? Coming to eat. Because they know too well that the person that is coming in there is not actually fit to be there. But because he's a member of that political party and probably has worked for his state, for the president to win his state or the governor to win his local government, that's why he's benefiting it. So this collapse of national grid that we are seeing, who is even being held responsible? Are there people not there managing it? We have heard of collapse of national grid. This one came around 3 p.m. yesterday. Then once the light is restored, now nobody will ask who are those people that are actually responsible for this? Are they sabotage, or they don't know their job, or is it that the government is just turning off his eyes away from it and tell Nigerians that, oh, you are in band A, you must pay band A. Do you know what the people in band A pay? I was in band A. I almost ran mad before the God did it that they changed it to band B. Even at that band B.
God did it. They demoted you to band B.
Yes, they
That's God doing it.
Yeah, we're happy because we are happy for that demotion.
Please, how did you go about it? Because I need to know.
I don't know how.
It's killing.
I don't know how the people in my city actually did it. It was something else.
All right.
So that demotion is a good one, Moses. if you know how we're paying. So the government should actually, look at whenever you are saying you are handling national asset to private individuals, you have to think of their capabilities because this asset belong to you and I, and they are coming to serve us. If they are not doing well, then we have we also have to challenge them. That's why we are talking about this morning. All the national collapse we have, great collapse we have ever had, who are those that have been penalized for it? Why are they not brought to book? We just say, okay, they have restored it, then everything goes inside the same way it is. It's not done.
All right, then. Well, let's take this conversation quickly to virtual guest. Julius Oguru, let me start off with you now. Nice. All right, I'm just being informed that we've lost connection to our virtual guest. But anyway, this will be a good place to wrap up the conversation. Let's get into another conversation. Kano State NNPP begs members to reconsider move as Kwankwanso Kano governor disagree over defection to APC. Let's talk about this one when we come back from this break.
Now, Kano politics has been thrown into fresh tension following reports of a planned defection by the state governor, Abba Yusuf, from the New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, to the All Progressive Congress, APC, a move strongly opposed by the party's leadership and its national leader, Senator Rabiu Kwakwanso. The development has sparked internal disagreements within the NNPP, particularly between supporters of the governor and loyalists of the Kwakwansia movement founded by Kwakwanso. Well, in a press statement issued on behalf of the NNPP in Kano State and at the national level, the party said it was fully aware of the unfolding political situation and does not support any defection to the APC. The state chairman, Honorable Hashim Suleiman Dungu Rawa, disclosed that the party made several efforts to persuade those involved to remain patient and stay within the NNPP in the interest of the people of Kano State. He further appealed to the governor and others allegedly planning to defect to reconsider their decision. He also urged residents of Kano State to remain calm and continue with their lawful activities, warning party members not to append their names to documents allegedly being circulated by mischief makers. While reacting to the situation, the Director General of Media and Publicity, Sanusi Bature, acknowledged that there was a rift within the party. He, however, declined to comment on the alleged defection. We still have our gentlemen here in the studio and our virtual guests. The prince, the political prince. what's going on in NNPP? Yesterday, the news was out there that, look, Kwakwanso and the governor were planning to defect. But this morning, we had a different news. Oh, it is the governor that wants to defect. And the people in the Kwakwansia movement are saying they are pleading with the governor not to defect to the APC because, look, they say we cannot be going to the APC, a party that we have been condemning all this while. So what are we going to tell Kano people? React, please.
You know why I'm laughing? I'm laughing because this whole thing you have playing out in Kano was actually started by Kwakwanso himself when he started hobnobbing with Mr. President. Kwakwanso kept going every now and then, and there was a point in time where it was even said he was already ready to decamp to APC. But I think along the line, the meetings didn't work out the way he wanted, and he decided to stay on his own. And also for the fact that he understands that, the Kano people are not, Kano voters are not people you play around with. They're not like us in the South, where we just do whatever comes our way. But I'll say this, that the truth of the matter is that APC today as a vehicle is overloaded. Grossly overloaded. And any vehicle that is grossly overloaded is prone to having an accident.
Tire burst.
Because if you want the governor of Kano State to decamp to APC, don't forget you have a Ganduje there.
He's going to meet Ganduje there.
You have Barua there, who wants to be governor. So what is going to happen? You think if the governor decamps, they just give him ticket. Let me say this, and I'll say with all sense of responsibility. What happened to Valentine in Anambra State? What happened to the Kano State governor if it decamps to APC? I also tell you this. Go and write it down. The peace you have today, or you seem to have in Delta State, is peace of the graveyard. Mm-hmm. By next year, you will see that the move made by the governor to go to APC was a disastrous move.
Okay, now, talking about Kwakwanso and his romance with the president, at the point, a lot of people thought that, look, Kwakwanso was going to move over to the APC because he had been tipped, for vice presidency in 2027. With what you see now, does it look like, well, the Muslim ticket is what is stopping him from, becoming the vice president? And does it also speak to the problem within the NNPP, whether they are moving to APC or they are staying in NNPP?
I think I would have been much more comfortable if Kwakwanso and his in-law that he made governor are living together.
To APC?
Yes.
Okay.
Because after fight, there is always a dialogue. They can't wash their clothes in the public politically, and the daughter of Kwakwanso is in his house, and that's also another area that you look into. But coming into the political matter of it, which we are here to discuss, I don't see this marriage of the governor decamping to APC in Kano and taking it that, I've gotten the political structure of APC in Kano as is expected. Yeah, that's what their constitution says, that the governor is the leader of the state if he's part of them. But politically, is he going to actually have it? Like Prince have said, these are underlying factors that will play up in 2026 we are entering, as we don't when we start talking of tickets to various elective offices soon. You now discover that Kao Barajeda is the deputy Senate president is from Kano. And these are people who are already eyeing that, maybe when I leave here, I want to be the governor of my state. Especially when the present governor is coming from an opposition, NNPP. So why did Kano not win? Why did APC not win Kano? That's the big question that is even peddled. So there is a big political challenge in Kano. And probably that's what the governor wants to quickly avoid, that he wants to move. But even if he moves, it's difficult because the fight between him and Ganduje, even till now, that we are still here that talking about is moving. Ganduje, they will not give him a soft landing. The political structure in Kano will not give him a soft landing. And now that he's not even his godfather is even saying he disagreed that he's not with him, that means he would have created enmity on both sides. From his own godfather's side, who made him governor today, there's enemy there. Then even where he's wanting to, those ones will not give him soft landing. So he's going to hang. And that will kill his political career. So he should do his calculation very well, because as it is, even if Kwankwaso joins APC today, he might not get the vice presidential ticket, even if the president is wanting to drop Shettima. Yes, because the president may not drop Shettima for a Muslim ticket any longer. He may drop Shettima for a Muslim Christian ticket.
Okay, so how can he do that when the chairman of the party is already a Christian?
But that the chairman of the party is in the administration of the party, not the political aspect of it. It's the leadership of the party. It should be completely divorced from the political part of the party. The political structure of the party are those people that are elected, who are around here managing the affairs of Nigeria. So if the president decides to drop Shettima, he may not pick.
He will drop Shettima.
I mean,
you are very certain.
He will drop Shettima.
He may not pick another Muslim ticket.
And there cannot be a second Muslim
ticket any longer. Especially by what we are going through in Nigeria now. We don't even know some of the discussions they even have with the American government. Some of them are not in the open yet. But we just see that
Prince,
that
when you say he won't drop Shettima, apparently the Muslim ticket is going to run into.
No, I said he will drop Shettima.
He will.
He will drop.
Okay, he will drop Shettima.
We can't afford another Muslim ticket.
He will not.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Mr. Julius Ogunre, our virtual guest. Mr. Ogunre, what do you make of what is happening in Kano State between Kwakwanso and the governor, his godson?
Very interesting, because I even have I suspect that it could be a game, because Kwakanko started this himself. He had met with the president, and the issue about defection to the APC came up. So some people might think that the Kwakanko wants to have a full hold in Kano State, make the governor defect while he remains in he remains in his party. So he controls the governor is in the APC to ensure that he has a leg there while he remains in his own party. I really don't understand the game he's playing. If it is about he wanting to be the vice president, I don't think he has any firm assurance about that. And I don't know if he's also going with the governor. For now, I think it's not very clear. I think it's a bit.
You don't think his 1 million plus votes will count?
Because if you understand the politics of Kano, I don't think the federal government is very popular in Kano State, as in many of the northern states, because of the economy, the issue about insecurity. The governor has not been able to manage governance. But when it comes to politics, the governor has excellent, being able to build a coalition that brought it in, extended to even the northern minority areas. But when it comes to governance, when you go beyond that facade of political leaders, go down to the people, a lot of complaints about them. If Kwakanso is romancing the APC, I'd met the president several times, and the issue of defection came up. So if they are going as a team, I was also saying that if you go beyond the facade of political leadership, where the federal government, the president administration has built on this coalition that if you go deeper than that facade, if you go deeper to the grassroots, to the people, there's been a lot of complaints about governance issues, not politics now, about insecurity, about corruption, about economic hardship. And if Kwakanso wants to be in touch with its grassroots base, I'm not sure going to the APC or his party moving to the APC is a wise move, because you might just have another leader in that state who will spring up and connect with the people. Do you understand? And Kwakanso will lose its mass appeal in the state. So I really don't know what is going on there. Until there's more clarity whether they are going together or whether the governor is going solo. If the governor goes solo, then there's a problem. You understand? Kwakanso is still popular, and he could build on the sentiments against the government, against the governor. So it's a bit not clear yet. Until I'm sure whether they are going together as a team or whether they are going, maybe the governor is just going against his party and moving to the APC. And some people think it's a game, that they are just doing this to have a full control of the state, one leg in APC and the other leg controlling their own party.
Okay. Oh, well, this will be a good place to wrap up this conversation, and we'll have more of such in the course of the day on other programs on this station. Well, I must say a very big thank you to our guest here, Julius Oguro, a media and political consultant. Thank you very much for your time. And also, a big thanks to Prince Francis Chilaka and Mr. Elvis Elime Hele, both public affairs commentators. And we must thank Barrister Clem Agui, who also joined us for the very first conversation. Well, this is where we draw the curtains on the VOP this morning. Newspaper Review comes up next. Join us again. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukuma Okoro. See you again.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology.